Welcome to the Africa Impact Summit Fireside Chat, a precursor event to the inaugural Africa Impact Summit. Hosted by the Foundation for Partnership Initiatives in the Niger Delta and the Betha Center of Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the University of Cape Town. Our speaker is Aline Var, Director of Strategy and Business Development at PIND, and our moderator is Dr. Pumlani Nkondwana, Founder and Director of the Allen Gray Center for Africa Entrepreneurship.
When you think of NPOs, at least in the global south, you have a static business model.
In this region.
Right,
Okay.
right. In this region, of course, in the US, it's different, and that's what I'm hoping you can teach us in this conversation. You have a very static. In fact, you don't even associate business model innovation with NPOs. So, at the same time, this concept of impact investing is fairly foreign and globally, and it means different things to different people. So if you depart from the basis that Africa is an opportunity because it's a blank slate, it's a new phenomenon, and we don't want to wake up one day and become a consumer market once again. But people who are critical of impact investing, I say, well, it's basically traditional capital masking itself under the impact narrative. But the old hardware, this old architectural tradition of how finance is deployed, risk is viewed, is still static. If you look at the institution like yours and a few others, what have they done to basically show us that this is a blank slate and showcase different business models? Because we want to think of impact investing want to think of Africa as an equal partner, essentially, to the global north in this impact investing community, because there's no impact investing without Africa. This is essentially where most of the needs are. Yet the conversation we're having is linked with institutions that are not associated with business model innovation. So what can you teach us about the relationship between NPOs and business model innovation in the context of impact investing?
So I'm going to piggyback on a portion of your question when you said that the impact investing is a blank slate, and especially for the continent, the region, impact investing is still very new across the world. It's existed for a while. It's recently the label of impact investment has been amplified. PIND has really been applying or living and breathing. I mean, partnership is part of the organization's name. So impact investing has been a core for a while. Has it been labeled as such? No. But if you look in the work that we've been doing, we've been on the NGO side and on the corporate side, impact investors. There is a portion, like we go back to change management. There is a portion that on the continent, and I'm going to shift to the Pan-Africanist that I am, the advocate for the diaspora. I am from a Francophone African country, a Lusophone African country, and I've been working for the past 10 years in an Anglophone African country, right? The realities in West Africa, the realities in East Africa, the realities in Southern Africa as it pertains to Sub-Saharan are very different. The realities in Johannesburg and the realities in the Cape are vastly different. So yes, you said earlier that NPOs have this reputation here or in the southern region of, not doing great. The governance side of things aren't great. The governance is something that we've always had an issue with on the continent, to be honest. But we have to understand that sticking to what we know, just like the baker, we will always be on the receiving end in that part of the conversation. We will not be at the table inviting the decision making and being part of the decision making. We have to know the difference between culture and tradition. Culture is who we are. Traditions evolve. And we are at the root of being able to control how our traditions have Southern African NPOs traditionally have had a bad reputation. Can we change those traditions? Yes. It is a human change management process that on the continent we have to embrace. And until we separate tradition and culture, we will always be in this hamster wheel. We want to hold on to the culture because the culture is why everybody else is investing, right? Our resources, in the arts, in the entertainment, that's why the rest of the world is investing. So let's hold on to that. Our traditions and what we traditionally apply to business and the way we are perceived is what we have to be open to. We also have to be open to, because now impact investing is new, social enterprises such as PIND and are becoming more part of the conversation than the NPO traditional name or the NGO. Social enterprises are what are actually sprouting, especially when the corporate world wants to be able to build those in terms of impact investing. We can design what it is that works for our communities. Instead of being told what it is that our communities need, we are seated in the right place to say, this is what we'll need. This is the kind of capital that's going to serve the community. This is the kind of capital that will serve a sustainable regeneration of capital. And only boots on the ground, beyond the NPO, beyond the social enterprise, the communities in partnership with these organizations can state that. And because the world at whole is trying to grasp the methodologies around impact investment, the impact measurement, how do you measure what is impactful? How do you measure what is investable under impact? Right now, the slate is so blank that we can pull a chair up to the table and say, here's what it's going to look like as it pertains to my region and my community.
Wondering, in your experience as an Africa-based NPO, at least with the roots in Africa, what is it that you can teach us about alternative spaces where this capital can go, that are showing new traditions in the risk appetite, in the let's do this because it's making a difference, not because climate change is trending. Mm-hmm. So I'm not seeing innovation in those spaces. Mm-hmm. So if you look at what you've done in the last 10 years, where has your institution shown innovation in taking risk appetite somewhere else or mobilizing capital to go somewhere else, which is not trending currently?
So, change.
For example,
Mm-hmm.
My world, what I know is entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. Do you see funds going there, for example, in startups, in impact investing funds going to startups, which are highly risk prone, and I see impact investing playing a massive role. We have about almost 40 billion US dollar, kind of funding gap in the continent. Is there something like that one of your funders could do, or is your portfolio still in what is becoming tradition now, so to speak, or old culture, in impact investing?
So I agree with you. Let me start off with saying I agree with you. Yes, right now ESG and impact investing, solar energy, and there's startups is not, I'm going to say, in terms of the relationship that the NPO has in terms of impact investment. Startups is still young in terms of helping young entrepreneurs being able to have the capital to boost. But with that said, in just like slow capital is necessary, right, to get things ramped up. You don't want to just, anything you do quickly will crash quickly. Let's get that in whatever industry you think of. So when you think about impact investing, you think that slow capital and blended finance is the healthy way forward, and that's how things are sustainable. Because let's say the NPO, PIND, for example, when it comes to solar energy. Yes, solar energy is getting a lot of, attention when it comes to international funding, but off-grid access to solar energy is not what, investors are usually looking at, right? It's off-grid. It's areas that people do not dare to enter. PIND in 2018 started the EA2P program, Access to Energy program, where we facilitate the entry of small solar energy companies that would like to enter these areas, like the riverine areas where you need a boat and you need to know your community to get deep down in there, and it's totally off-grid, off the national power grid, and have these solar companies be able to enter, get community trust, right? Because the community is like, who are you and why do you want to come here? We don't. So being able to facilitate that and have small business be able to have an access and get into areas that your large companies wouldn't even think of is actually starting to shift the opportunity, for the small entrepreneurs and companies, give that community that has small, their small business, may be the local barbershop, may be the local, small restaurant, whatever it may be. It may not be on the grid, in conversation in the State Department, but it shifts things over the next 10 years. So that is a definite point in our programs that I applaud and I really am happy about, because it starts that process and it actually starts to guide investors to focus in areas that they may not see and will start to see.
Thank you for watching. Please visit pindfoundation.org to learn more and follow PIND's online activities via social media on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter at PIND Foundation, Foundation for Partnership Initiatives in the Niger Delta.